Am I the asshole for bringing a meat-based product to my vegan friend's dinner? I, 22F, was invited to a group dinner hosted by my friend Hannah, 23F, who's vegan. In the message she said, "It would be awesome if you all could bring plant-based dishes so everyone can try everything." I didn't think it was a rule, I saw it more like a suggestion. I am from Chile and my friends love our food, so I decided to bring empanadas de pino, non-vegan, and sopaipillas con pebre, which are vegan. I made sure to put a visible tag that showed the vegan and non-vegan food. She didn't try none of the dishes I brought. At the dinner, Hannah looked really upset and later texted me that I was really disrespectful for bringing animal products into her home. I apologized, but I also didn't think it was that big of a deal since I didn't force her to and I brought a food that she could also eat. Also, mind you, we've already eaten non-vegan food there plenty of times, so I would have never guessed it would be such a problem. Am I the asshole? Guys, it was not a small dinner with friends. We were 27 people there and there were over 20 different dishes to choose from, with most of them being vegan. Your vegan friend organizes dinner and requests her friends to bring plant-based dishes so everybody can try everything. You decided to bring a non-vegan dish. You are the asshole. Edited to change vegetarian to vegan, my bad. You are the asshole. You knew your friend was vegan. She asked you politely to bring plant-based dishes so everyone can try everything. You decided to bring food to your friend's party that you knew your friend couldn't eat, and to ignore what she said about everyone getting to try everything. If you want to be invited back ever, I suggest you apologize properly, acknowledge that was an asshole move and you won't do it again. You are the asshole. I would assume that bringing a meat dish into a vegan's home wouldn't be welcome, regardless of how the invite was worded. And if you weren't sure, a text to the host to clarify would take like 5 seconds. I wouldn't bring wine or beer, for example, to the home of a recovering alcoholic just because the invite didn't specifically say not to. Know your host and plan accordingly. Edited to add. It's possible that those previous times that people brought meat did actually bother the host and that's why she specified, albeit not as clearly as she should have, to bring plant-based food. For those who don't like the alcohol analogy, someone suggested the analogy that you wouldn't bring pork to a dinner at a Jewish household. Nah, she believed she made a direct request. You believed she made a suggestion, which you accommodated nicely. This is a misunderstanding. I think I'm inclined on nah. I do think she intended her message to ask people to only bring vegan stuff. But I can see why you might not have read it in as strong terms. I would probably say an apology for that misunderstanding on your part would be appropriate. You are the asshole seems pretty clear what she was asking for. You couldn't go one meal without meat? Am I the asshole for lying to my roommate about being on a date because she always shows up uninvited? I, 21F, am currently studying for my bachelor's degree and share a room in a shared house with my friend Emma, 20F. Emma is really nice and sweet and we get along super easily as housemates and in general. I also like hanging out with Emma outside of our house friend group. We go on cute little coffee dates, study together in the library, etc. The problem is, while I do love hanging out with Emma, she's also super clingy and is always crashing my plans with other friends when she knows about them. And she almost always knows because she constantly asks what I've got going on. I've talked to her about this, but every time she brushes it off with something like, "Oh, sorry, I was just nearby and wanted to say hi and then someone asked me to stay." She's not lying. Someone always says, "You should join us." Because it would be weird and rude not to, but she always accepts and the amount she shows up is getting kinda weird. Last night I really wanted my space and time with other friends, so when she asked what I was doing later I told her I had a date with a guy from Tinder, even though really I was going to a bar with some girls from my course. When I got home I could hear her crying. I went to go check on her, and she told me she'd seen one of the other girls' Insta stories with me at the bar and knew I'd been lying about the date to avoid her. I tried to explain I didn't mean to hurt her and just wanted more of my own life, but she just got more upset. Today she hasn't talked to me at all and wasn't at our usual study spot in the library. I know I upset her and I honestly didn't mean or want to, but I don't know what else I could have done. I love hanging out with her, I just need friends and time of my own too. I don't know what to do because Emma never listens when I try to tell her I need some space. Am I tall? How do I get my space and keep our friendship without being an asshole? Not the asshole, even married couples need time apart. Not the asshole. She refuses to listen and is basically stalking you. Stop telling her where you are going. Just say you are going out with friends, or whatever, and I will see you later. That she is this clingy and this sensitive is not a good sign. Not the asshole. I had a similar situation some years ago where a friend was always asking what I had done that day and then would get hurt they hadn't been invited. I tried to not say much but realized they couldn't take a hint. They would ask to join planned events that were special to me and a friend they barely knew. Eventually I had to draw some boundaries and be okay with the fact that it may hurt their feelings. Sometimes you may have to distance yourself even if just temporarily. Not the asshole. You have tried talking to her about it, she either doesn't get it or doesn't care. I'm glad that people in the sub-OBV haven't had to lie to people who don't respect boundaries, but you didn't want to lie. If you told her, I'm going to hang out with Mary, she'd ask where, when. If you said, not sure, then she still saw the story, she'd still say you didn't tell her on purpose, even if that was true. I've had friends like this, they are exhausting. Every time you want alone time or time with other friends, they get personally offended. Not the asshole, and yikes. The fact that she thinks that you are in the wrong is insightful, but not in a good way. It would be a cold day in a hot place before I would be conscripted into lying about my schedule because a roommate was overbearing, intrusive, and didn't read social clues. Not the asshole, it seems you've expressed how you felt multiple times and she is ignoring it. I'm a little worried of how attached she seems to be to you. She should also be seeing other friends and having a life outside of you. As for how to get your space, that's going to be tricky. You need to have a sincere, straightforward conversation with her, and she needs to take your boundaries seriously. And if she repeatedly steps over the line, you are not the asshole. I can see why she was upset about the lie for you to go out with a group of girls, and she probably feels super excluded. At your age, it can feel so much worse than it actually is. You could apologize for lying about it, but also explain why you felt that you needed to lie. Would I be the asshole if I turned down my ex's settlement offer and forced him out of his home? I, 32, am divorced from my ex, 38. During the divorce process, he agreed to pay me $250K for my share of our house. The court gave him until June of last year to pay me the full amount. He paid me $210K and said he would get me the rest as soon as he was able. We both put $100K down when we were married to get the house in the first place. He signed a legally binding divorce agreement. I last spoke to him in December about when I could expect the rest of my money. He told me he didn't know. He did say that he wanted me to come pick up the rest of my stuff I had in the old storage shed. I told I could get it when I got back into town after the holidays, and he told me no, get it before January 1st. I cancelled my trip home to see my family just for him to take a hammer to everything and leave it in the street Christmas morning. That's when I went to my lawyer and filed contempt charges. He was already in violation of the agreement, but now I am suing for interest, legal, and damages. His lawyer has approached mine with a settlement offer. Everything I am asking for, paid in 6 months. He will return some things he chose to keep rather than smash. If I decline, he will have 30 days to sell the house. I don't want to make a decision in anger. He loves that house and wants to die there. I don't need to force the timeline for the money, but he has dragged this process out for years, being a no-show to court, ducking service, refusing to sign the papers, requesting continuances for hearings, etc. Maybe he will pay me in 6 months and he can still keep the house, but part of me wants him to finally suffer the consequences of blowing off his legal responsibilities. I want to decline the offer, but I feel like that is coming from a place of hate. If I decline, would I be the asshole? YWNBTA. It was beyond vindictive to give you until the 1st of January to collect, but then smash your stuff with a hammer and leave it out in the street. I'd normally say to rise above it and be the better person, and that you'd probably feel less bad if you did so, but, assuming you don't have children together, I say screw him. This has been going on, and he's not given 1 inch more than he had to at any point, and often much less. So rather than wait another 6 months to be let down again and have to go back to court again, it would be perfectly understandable to want to bring this to an end. So the amazing settlement offer essentially boils down to he gets another 6 months to pay what he owes and he'll magnanimously return some of your things that he stole. Absolutely not. You'd have to be a muppet to agree to that given his history of not paying on time and destroying your belongings. It's a shame he'll have to sell the house if he can't find another way to get what he owes you, but he was completely the architect of his own destruction on that front. Not you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, and to be blunt, fuck him. He fucked around, it's time for him to find out. Sorry, he was a huge asshole at the non-paying part, but to put you in a position to cancel holiday travel to come pick up your belongings, that he destroyed before you got there? Nah, he deserves every bad thing coming to him. You should not feel the least bit upset or bad for anything that comes from this. It's your decision to make, but make the decision that best benefits you. Do not make a decision based on not wanting to feel bad that he might have to sell his dream home. Not the asshole. He broke the first agreement and also destroyed your stuff out of spite. Just end this nightmare and let him deal with the consequences of his actions. If you were coming from a place of hate, you would have sued him when he initially came up short with money owed. It seems like your ex will drag this out forever. It could be his way of having some control over you. Personally, I would make him pay me in full within 30 days. Cut all ties with him. He did this to himself, and real estate prices are insane. Cash out and make sure you get your whole end. Am I the asshole took my license plate off of my car? Okay, so long story short. I sold my car to a friend of mine after I got a new one, for a very low price. It was an old beat-up car, so I just wanted to do them a favor. I told them to type up what was needed to transfer the title and we could go to the courthouse or wherever. Just figure it out, right? Wrong. Months go by and I am continuously reminding them not to drive the car until the title is transferred. Because it's still in my name at this point, and if something happens, it's on me. Right? Wrong. I get ignored and more time passes. My parents get a letter in the mail saying that I have at least 6 parking tickets on that car, and if they aren't paid, I am getting a warrant. Tickets that have been sitting for months. He paid the tickets. I tell him to stop driving my car for the love of God until he gets it figured out and tells me when and where to go. Crickets. I took the license plate off the car. And I told him to get it figured out or I would sell it again. He then said he would take me to small claims court, and then a week later told me he no longer wanted the car and that I can come pick it up. Can someone tell me what's going on here? Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, but next time file release of liability with the DMV. Not the asshole. I would just go pick it up and sell to someone else. Taking advantage of a friend's kindness like this is just appalling to me. For the love of Christ. Google, how to sell a car in less than my state, and follow the steps. In the state's eyes it is your problem while it is still titled to you. No matter how much money your friend gave you. Well, he's obviously the asshole, but you should have kept the license plate in the first place. You've just been lending him, I guess, renting cheaply, the car. When you sell, get the sale done officially or don't hand over the car. Lesson learned. Not the asshole, but you got played, and this sounds like it ends the friendship. Let this be a lesson to you. Never sell someone a car without taking care of the title yourself. It was your car. Therefore, it's your responsibility to ensure it was transferred over to someone else. You also messed up by allowing someone to drive a car around with your license plate on the vehicle. Of course, this friend isn't off for driving around when the car wasn't properly registered in their name and for getting all those tickets, not paying them until it was almost jail time for you. That's obviously not a real friend. This is exactly what the release of liability form is for. You needed to fill it out. I live in CA, it's online, immediately.